Lawmakers across the country are now debating on emergency benefits to help people that are financially struggling. The monthly payments from the expanded child tax credit that have been given to roughly 35 million families are all set to expire at the end of the month. That's after Congress has failed to renew the program once again. This program was established under the Build Back Better bill, but it's now coming to an end, everybody, and if President Biden or some Democrats like Nancy Pelosi don't step up to save this bill and save this proposal, then stimulus checks will go down the drain. But the good news is that stimulus checks are being sent out in certain states and certain cities. Studies have actually shown that the monthly payments have helped to significantly reduce child poverty and child hunger in the country. That's all it benefits. This is a big benefit to the country, and the White House says the program would have the potential to cut child poverty in half. But hunger in the United States is actually worsening as the monthly payments are ending. The Census Bureau actually estimated that more than 21 million Americans actually did not have enough food to eat in early December. That's a 5-month high. The expanded child tax credit program all was passed back in March with President Biden's American Rescue Plan. According to the Huffington Post, everybody, Joe Manchin now has concerns about the bill and how it could cause huge numbers to rise in inflation. Joe Manchin reportedly voiced concern that parents who received the monthly credit would use the money on prescriptions, and the last payment was sent to eligible families on December 15th. So if Congress doesn't do something about this, then many people will be suffering. And we all know that the crisis is only worsening, and then many people across the country are in dire need of financial assistance, so President Biden has to do something about this. The Senate Democrats added were exemptions from employees' pensions plans. This is all in President Biden's Build Back Better bill. The panel also left out, for now, the House passed changes to state and local tax deductions that will generate nearly $15 billion over a decade. Combined now, the edits left the tax cuts and increases in the bill, tallying around $886 billion in net revenue to offset other spending. So with Joe Manchin pushing spending lower than the House-passed $2.2 trillion figure, that's likely still more than enough to pay for the bill and even trim offsets further. If Democrats can agree on a version of West Virginia's centrist, if Democrats can agree, then a bill will be sent out, but Joe Manchin right now is just holding back the stimulus checks. And the biggest new corporate tax in the bill, which would create a 15% minimum levy on corporations, would generate nearly $300 billion over a decade in the Senate version. That's $21 billion less than the House-passed version of the tax, thanks to the defined benefit pension plans. An exemption that business groups lobbied for, and new tax that would avoid taxing large profit organizations. The tax applies to corporations with income of more than $1 billion on average over 3 years, or $100 million for U.S. corporate tax could hit them. Manchin's criticism has recently focused on the bill's spending, though Kirsten Sinema has already denied several tax increases. So if President Biden, everybody, does not send the fourth stimulus check, will you still approve of him? Much news, a lot of progress is being made about the fourth stimulus check, and this is what everyone wanted to see. Now, according to the Labor Department, initial filings for unemployment, everybody, dipped last week and remained close to the lowest level in more than 50 years. Jobless claims for the week ended on December 25th totaled around 198,000. That's less than a $205,000. That's less than a 205,000 Dow Jones forecast. So we can all see that unemployment is dipping. But still, many people in the country are in need of a fourth stimulus check. And although the surge in a crisis could apply some downward pressure in the labor market, according to data, despite a downward trend in initial claims, the total of those receiving benefits under all programs rose by nearly 40,000 to 2.18 million. Similar decline in claims has come from the ending of benefits through programs created during the crisis that provided enhanced and extended payments. Still, the total getting benefits is a far cry from where it was a year ago.
Our colleagues exactly what I know and every other member here wanted to do. But here we are because we have to be here. And we are here because back home in my state and all over this country, millions and millions of families are struggling to put food on the table. They are struggling to pay their rent. They are struggling to come up with the money they need to go to the doctor. And this hits me in a sense, in a personal way. I just received the other day from a colleague of mine in Burlington, Vermont, where I live. Burlington, Vermont, largest city in the state of Vermont, all of 40,000 people. And what a volunteer wrote to me, they said, this is the quote: reporting on a food drive in Burlington, Vermont, where I live. Quote, over 30 volunteers showed up to the Champlain School to help bag groceries and to hand them out to those who came out. Unfortunately, there was not nearly enough donated food to provide a bag to everyone who showed up, despite us planning on an increased need. The line of cars filled the parking lot, wrapped around the school, and went out onto the main road for half a mile. This represented a major uptick from the October event that we were involved in. This is Burlington, Vermont. Hundreds of cars lining up for emergency food, and the volunteers did not have enough food to distribute. They had to say to families who were trying to feed their kids, sorry, we do not have enough food. So what we are doing today is very simple. And that is Senator Thune and Senator McConnell and others have raised objection to the House-passed bill. And in the United States Senate, when we have differences of opinion, what we should be doing is debating that bill. So all that Senator Schumer is asking, all that I am asking is a simple request. Bring the bill to the floor. Not even asking you to vote for it. Bring the bill to the floor. And on top of everything else, we need 60 votes to pass. 60 votes. Can we get 60 votes? I don't know. I think virtually all of the 48 Democrats will vote for it. It means, Senator Thune, that we need 12 Republicans. I gather we got one right here who indicated he would vote for it. 5 or 6 others have been public about saying they will vote for it. Will we get the rest? I don't know. You don't know. But what is the problem with giving members of the United States Senate the opportunity to vote on the legislation? And when we have that debate, you can come up and you can raise all of your objections and we can debate it. Now, I hear Senator Thune and Senator McConnell before him talk about this bill being socialism for the rich, which I've got to tell you I find, Mr. President, somewhat hysterical, because that's an issue I have been talking about for many, many years. And I am very delighted that my conservative Republican friends now recognize that we do have socialism for the rich. To paraphrase Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said that we live in a society where we have socialism for the